Today's guest is Micah Woodard. Micah is the owner of LAVISH Home and Body here in Scranton. We're going to talk about the difficulties of running a small business during the COVID environment, how things are going now that things are starting to open up, and how things are going to look in the future for his business and maybe for some of the other businesses. So I hope you enjoy the show. And if you can, please like, follow, subscribe, comment. I hope you enjoy the show. Here's Micah Woodard. (2019) 2020 comes. You get rolling. Your business is doing fine. Everybody's happy, and all of a sudden, the world stops.
Yeah, we definitely thought for us, coming into 2020, we were hitting the 5-year mark. We thought 2020 was going to be our year. I mean, that was the one where you crawl your way out of that debt cycle. Anybody who's ever started or bought a business knows those first couple of years, you're in a debt cycle. For us in the retail salon world, your first quarter, January, February, March, not only are not as many people shopping, you have a lot of snow days. Everybody's returning those Christmas gift certificates. Mm-hmm. Your income goes down. So you go into a little bit of a hole, and then you plateau for 6 months, and then Christmas season kicks back around. Yeah. Everybody's going to galas and parties, and then you come out of it. And so that little cycle, year one, that's a big dip, and then a big climb. And year two, it's not as much of a dip. So you kind of come out of that cycle, and 2020 was going to be that year. Mm-hmm. And then the unbelievable happened. We just got shut down. And we've always said there's a few businesses in this world that are recession proof. Hair is one of them. Mm-hmm. If the finances are tight, you're going to maybe not go out to eat as much. Or, when you go on vacation, maybe you won't spring for the extra all-inclusive package and will be a little bit more budget conscious. But your wife and my wife, they are going to get their gray roots done.
Oh, yeah.
Come hell or high water. It is the recession-proof business. You have to get your hair cut.
And then all of a sudden that gets shut down.
And then all of a sudden,
yeah,
it's deemed unessential.
Right.
And it was wild. It was a wild ride.
Well, here, so we're shut down. Mm-hmm. You can't let anybody in your store. You can't have anybody cutting hair. My own family business, you can't show a car. You can't have somebody come on your car lot and even open a door, mm-hmm. which, But the thing is that with you guys is you're trained in all that, in trying to keep things clean and sanitize. I mean, that's something you do every day. So, to me, that was insanity to just shut down like that.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at what you have to do to be allowed to work in a salon, a licensed stylist, you're looking at almost a year of training. I believe it's 1,250 hours for your standard cosmetology license. And the majority of that is health and safety. It's sanitation. It's bloodborne pathogens. It's all of those things.
Oh, yep.
We always say when you graduate, when you have a license, you then go to a salon and then you actually learn how to do hair. It's almost like a graduate school where you learn to do hair. Beauty school is just simply you're getting the degree. It's no different than most higher education degrees. You go to college, you get the diploma, and then you go learn how to do the job.
Right.
So and just down to a simple comparison, I believe don't quote me on the number, but to become a police officer, you have to go to police academy.
Yep.
It's, I think, 840 something hours.
It is. Yes, it is.
To be a stylist, it's 1,250
mm-hmm.
hours. Yeah. This is what we do. We do health and safety. We get inspected every year on health and safety, surprise inspection. Every year we pass with flying colors. Most people do.
Well, sure.
And in this situation,
no,
it's not deemed safe.
Nope. They came and locked your doors. And,
yeah.
So I know wives, husbands learn how to do hair, learn how to do color.
When we reopened 3.5, 4 months later, every single haircut, whether it was a cut, a color, whatever we did, every single one was a repair job.
Oh, I'm
every
sure
single
it
one.
was. I'm sure it was.
And because some of them you were fixing that at home situation. And then for others, it was, typically you just get like a root touch up every 5-6 weeks. Well, you're talking 4 months. And what happens if you were 1 week away from your 6-week appointment when we got shut down? Well, now you're adding more weeks on top of that. And let's be honest, when the salons reopened, everybody wanted the first appointment on the first day.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
And for 5 weeks, we were open 7 days a week, 15 hours a day, cramming people in. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead.
Well, no, what I was saying is, so shutdowns happen.
Yeah.
I'm in office, brand new.
You were in what, for 2 months?
I got sworn on January 6th.
Yeah. So,
And,
2 months.
So
how do you like, how do you like it?
Hey.
It was trial by fire for you.
Well, that's how I usually spend my life. I've learned to bob, weave, whatever you have to do. But
Yeah.
So I'm walking around Courthouse Square trying to get a little bit of fresh air one day, and I bump into you.
Yeah.
And everybody's panic stricken. Every business in basically every business in the city was shut down, or in the state really.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, it was here, and my family business was shut down. And you and I talked. What do we do?
Yeah.
How can we get this up and running? Like, you and I we're in the same boat, and that's when I think you had a meeting with some of the business people. You kind of became the spokesperson for a lot of the local businesses here, restaurants. And
Yeah.
things.
I mean, and that happened accidentally. And it all came about because, I'm not very good at keeping my mouth shut sometimes. I don't do that very well. I tend to, if I see something that's not right, I'll just tell you.
Yep.
So, through a couple of meetings that happened, probably I think about 7 weeks into the shutdown, 6-7 weeks into the shutdown. And, and let's go back and let's be real honest.
Well, it was only supposed to be for 2 weeks.
Well, it's 15 days to flatten the curve.
Right.
And then 15 days turned into, well, let's get to the end of the month, and then it was all of April. And then I think it was the first week of May. So we had been in this thing for 7-8 weeks. And I think pretty much everybody else, when you first see the images on the news of what's happening in China, and then you see what's happening in Italy, and then all of a sudden, and I remember it clear as day, it's like Tom Hanks and his wife have COVID in Australia. And it's like, well, Tom Hanks is going to die. And then it's like, there was an NBA basketball player, I think it was Rudy Gobert. They shut down the NBA. Rudy Gobert has coronavirus. And it's like, oh my goodness, this is getting real.
Right.
And it felt like the zombie apocalypse, because what you're seeing is, people just on the streets in body bags. And then you start to hear the stories of New York, and, they've got bodies just in mass graves. And it's like, this is scary stuff.
Yeah.
And for my wife and I, like a lot of people, our son's heavily immune compromised. He's a cancer survivor. He still struggles with long-term lung issues. And we, at that point we knew COVID really affects the respiratory system. Terrified. Well, then you fast forward 5-6 weeks later, and you're starting to get the data back.
Right.
And it's like, well, no, this is really only affecting people of a certain age. For the most part, there was always outliers.
Of course. Yeah.
Or people with heavily, immune compromisation. I don't even know if that's a word, Chris.
No, we'll make it a word too.
Yeah. And so reality starts to kick in. And then you start to kind of look around at what businesses are closed and what businesses are open. And you're hearing the words essential and non-essential. Yeah. And the things that you're seeing and the information you're getting and the decisions that are being made for you, they're not adding up. There's a disconnect somewhere in there. So around the 6, 7, 8 week mark, I can't even remember now. I sat through a meeting with one of the local business-based organizations, and it's just a frustrating meeting. A lot of people talking about things, that were very difficult at the time. Right. One of the things that came up was, some of the downtown beautification, talking about things that are affecting business owners. And I'm sitting there myself getting very frustrated, but I'm getting text from every other business owner saying, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
You know, like our worlds are falling apart, and they're talking about how the saddest part of this whole thing has been that they haven't been able to plant flowers in the flower planters downtown.
Yeah.
And I just cleared out my kid's college fund. My kid who's a junior in high school cleared out his college fund so that I don't lose everything.
Right. Right.
Retirement, gone. Savings, gone, you know, and they're upset about flowers. So me being myself, I kind of unmuted on Zoom and you know, snapped. And then the next day I called who I needed to call to apologize and, you know, had those conversations. But then that next night, you know, a local politician is posting on social media that, you know, if you talk about what we're doing, then we'll stop supporting your businesses.
Right.
And so that red level just keeps going through the roof. You know, and again, the next day, spoke to him. Just the frustration is building and building. And it became very, very apparent. We're on our own. I mean, help is not coming. The people that are making the decisions, the politicians, the state leadership, they are not communicating. They're just telling us what we can and can't do. They're not listening. There is no relationship happening. So I knew full well if I go and try and communicate to Governor Wolf or whomever, I'm getting nowhere. But if 10 people write a letter, if 20 people write a letter, well, now you have to listen. You know, there's that power in numbers. So I sent out a text to a few people, a few business owners, and I said, let's get together. Feel free to send this to whomever you want to. So we had a socially distanced meeting in person, and then a lot more people on Zoom. I don't know exactly how many people were on that meeting because you can't always identify on Zoom. The best we can tell, somewhere around 50 businesses were represented, 50 business owners. And we had a conversation. What are you going through? What challenges are you facing? What kind of financial trouble are you in? And we asked a series of questions just to collect data and then questions. And some of the data points were, you know, how close are you to going bankrupt? And it was scary.
Yeah.
I thought my business was in bad shape until I went to that meeting. And I realized how fortunate we were, despite the fact that we were literally losing tens of thousands of dollars a week.
Well, right then, that's when I was getting the calls.
Well, and then, yeah.
Well, not from you,
not from me, but yeah.
Not yet from you, but so getting the call, you gotta go against the governor. Lackawanna County has to let all these businesses open.
Right.
And you need to do this and you need to do that. I'm sitting here, I'm a minority commissioner in Lackawanna County. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we have the governor making threats that, you know, any of this COVID money, the grant money that's going to be coming, if you go against whatever I'm putting out there,
yeah,
forget about it. You won't get
Not
won't
only
get a
that,
penny.
and if you do, you're a coward.
Well, right.
And you don't care about people.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got all that. So, you know, so as a commissioner, I'm sitting there, and you're basically, your hands are tied. Mm-hmm. You know, what I want to do. My father was closed, so guess what? The light bill still comes.
Yeah.
The insurance still comes. You know, that none of that stopped.
Yep.
But so I was getting very frustrated as well. And here I am sitting in an office. I can't do anything.
Was anybody talking to you? Were you getting answers from anyone? Because nobody was talking to us.
We never got, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
My answer questions that I had. No, I didn't get any answers. All I saw were talking heads. That was it. Wow. You know. So you know. But and then in the meantime, I have you guys. Yeah. So and that's probably when I started talking with you about this situation.
Yeah, I mean, so you know that was an interesting weekend. You know, Thursday I have a meeting that blows up, and then Friday, and then Sunday I send out a text, and Monday all of a sudden there's more people than I realized, and and they're telling their stories, and we put together a letter. We put together a 4-page letter with some data, and it was questions. Pretty simple questions. Forget essential, non-essential. That's a terrible way to talk about somebody's livelihood. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about safe, because safe is the only thing we should be concerned about. Because at that point, the data's coming out on the coronavirus. It's very real and very bad, but it's people aren't going to be dropping like flies. We need to take care of certain people that are immune compromised, really take care of the nursing homes, take care of the older population. But for the most part, everybody else is going to be fine. And so the question was, well, what is safe and unsafe? Well, I'm in a meeting on Monday. The day before, I had to go to Lowe's because we were doing a couple of home projects. I had to go to the back of Lowe's to get into the line. Mm-hmm. There were so many people. Stand in line, going around the building, go in the front door, and there's people buying patio furniture. So it's safe to put hundreds of people, not socially distanced, wearing their masks, to buy patio furniture. Right. But I can't cut somebody's hair, or I can't open to sell somebody a gift for Mother's Day. One person, not one. If I open one person on Mother's Day, but to go buy patio furniture is okay.
Well, and that, to me, that was the biggest
mind-boggling.
That was the biggest question we were getting. Why can they be open? How come you can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, and you can go there no problem? Well, I can tell you why. I mean, this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
Because they have more money than the state of Pennsylvania. So if they're going to take them to court to shut them down,
right,
they'll outspend them. So they couldn't fight with them. So they shut everybody else down. That's just my opinion. But
yeah, I mean, and I'm not going to begin to assume what was going through the governor's mind.
Well, hey, we're writing the rule book as we're going.
And that's, I always said from the beginning, I said to everyone, and especially when I had to call them later and apologize, everybody should get an extra measure of grace right now because nobody knows what they're doing.
Right.
I mean, you don't go to business school to get your business degree. There's not a class on how you walk a business through a global pandemic.
No.
That was never faced in business school.
It wasn't in the commissioner handbook.
It's not in your commissioner syllabus. Governor Wolf did not, it's new to him. Same thing with President Trump at the time.
Yep.
That was new to him. It was new to everyone. Everybody gets an extra measure of grace because we are figuring this out, trying to save lives, trying to keep the economy afloat. And some people did well and some people didn't.
Some people did.
And it's really easy. And again, I'll devil's advocate. It's really easy to Monday morning quarterback this situation. It's really easy to sit here and look back and say, this person did well and this person screwed up. But in the moment, you only have a certain few things to go by. The biggest thing to go by, though, would have been some input from the people that are the boots on the ground.
Right. And that's the problem. They weren't listening to anything that was being said. Mm-mm. So you and I get together.
Yeah.
And the businesses are screaming, they got to get open.
Yeah.
And you got to go against the governor. I said, time out. I said, here's how we're going to do this. I want everybody that has a business that has an action plan of how they think they can open, follow the guidelines that are in place right now, operate safely, and following all the CDC guidelines. So bring that to me. We'll get all those together, and I'm going to get them out to, our senators, whoever. I got them out to pretty much everybody and the governor's office. So, hey, I was talking with Senator Blake. I was talking with Kyle Mullins. We're trying to work with these people. Their hands are tied. I mean, obviously politics played a huge role in what was going on.
Yep.
And, there was only so much they could do. But so we did. We compiled all that information. I got it all together. I sent it out electronically, and I put a packet together and sent it to the governor's office. So, here we go. I got that out. And
crickets?
I think the mail didn't get there yet. I'm not sure. I know we have an issue with mail, but I didn't hear anything yet, so I'm still waiting.
In a similar way, after our meeting and you and I started talking, on behalf of the business owners, we sent out that letter with very basic questions.
Yep.
Never got a single response.
Nothing.
Nope.
And I had from little 1-2 person operations up to, one of the biggest fast food businesses in the country, the local people sent me their action plan, which was very impressive.
Yeah.
So, everybody from a single woman running her little salon in her backyard to that place. So, I was, believe me, very disappointed that I never heard anything. But, hey, fight the fight just along with everybody else.
Well, you talk about the decision makers in Harrisburg needing the information to kind of give us guidelines. So you fast forward many weeks later, and the governor, he was doing was it every Friday he would tell you what was going to happen on Monday?
Right.
We kind of knew it was coming just from some input from people that we know that, our middleman, if you will. We were hearing on the Wednesday rumors, Thursday stronger rumors, and then Friday salons can open on Monday. We had been ready to reopen for weeks.
Yep.
We had already gotten all of the PPE, plexiglass dividers. We were ready to go. Absolutely 100% ready to go. We open on Monday. 2 weeks later, we get an email. We've released the guidelines for safely opening salons.
Mm-hmm.
We've been open for 2 weeks. And fortunately for us, we actually did more than was on the list. Because, let's be very transparent about this. Number one, we want to keep people safe.
Absolutely.
But secondary to that, the worst thing that can happen to a business right now beyond not keeping people safe is being perceived as not caring about people.
Right.
You have to care about people, and you have to look like you're caring about people. That's important.
And I think most everybody did.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job.
Yeah. And, we're open for 2 weeks. Everybody's happy. We're making money. Everything's good. And then the guidance comes out. Okay, salons are reopened, but outside of the governor, now the state board of cosmetology is starting to shut things down. Our estheticians could do facials, and then 2 weeks later, it's like, you're not allowed to do it anymore. Even with masks on, you're not allowed to do it anymore. So, it was just a frustrating time, to do what we were doing. And I know you and I've talked about this before. It was frustrating for us in the salon world because kind of we were part of that, the black sheep of the family group of businesses, the restaurants, the gyms, and salons. But we had it so much easier than restaurants. I mean, those guys, just getting to know, I've gotten to know them a little bit better over the past year, but you talk about just brutal as a business owner, what they've been through. Everything in business is numbers and percentages. You have to look at all of that. Restaurants, salons, gyms, our business models are very tight margins. They are very heavy payroll, and they rely on quick turnover. That's
absolutely. Cash flow.
You got to work.
And restaurants, there's most restaurants at 100% are just hanging in there.
Well, and I don't know exactly what the margins are. I've talked to a couple of restaurant guys about this, but my best guess in talking to a couple of them, you're talking about 10 to 3% margins depending on what the dish is, time of year, what you're doing. 10%.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you're making. So when you're able to operate at 50% of occupancy, your rent doesn't go down 50%.
No,
your electric doesn't go down 50%. Your payroll doesn't go down 50%. So your food costs don't go down 50%. In fact, your food costs are going up.
That's right.
So these guys are already working on slim margins. They're trying to get back under their feet. They've spent tens of thousands of dollars on PPE, outdoor dining setups. They're doing all of these things, and they're doing it right. And then they get shut down again.
Yeah.
Restaurants, salons, every business has their busy time. I'm sure it's the same in the car business. You have a busy time.
Yep.
For restaurants, there's a couple of good times when you make money. One of those biggest times is between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yep.
Around here, it's kind of a cool tradition. Everybody comes home for Thanksgiving. They go out and hang out the night before.
That's right. Yep. And then
they got shut down.
And then the Christmas parties all start, the business Christmas
shut
parties.
down. And here was the most mind-boggling part of this. And there was a really smart bar restaurant owner around here who he originally made this statement publicly, and it was just brilliant. If they're following the guidelines, that the governor put in place on a regular daily basis, it's deemed to be safe. That doesn't change the night before Thanksgiving. So if you're following the rules, you're following the rules, people are safe. But now you're not even going to give people an opportunity to stay open following the rules, being safe. You're just going to close them down because you don't trust that those people are smart enough to follow the rules. The lack of trust over the past year was astonishing.
Well, it was. And the bottom line too is, the vulnerable people that could possibly get very sick from this, they didn't go out.
No.
So
some still aren't.
No, I know they aren't. And so, for a perfectly healthy 25 to 30-year-old person wanting to go out and hang with their friends, I mean, I get it. I get it. It's a pandemic. But if you follow the guidelines and look at, even today, I don't even know anybody that got the flu this year. So you know that it definitely works. So, it was just tough. So moving forward now, what do you think we're going to be doing post-pandemic, if there ever is such a thing?
Well, I tell you what, Chris.
Things are going to change.
For the past year, my opinion on a lot of things has changed on a near daily basis. I mean, you think you have it figured out, and then the next day you get new information, and your opinion changes. You go back early on, like we said, 2 weeks, 15 days to flatten the curve. That's what we were told.
Yep.
And then that changes. And then we're told, don't wear masks. Wear masks. And I'm thinking, we'll wear a mask for a couple of weeks, couple of months. It'll work its way through the population. We'll be good to go. And then you're hearing, no, this is long term. And you're hearing numbers like 2022. And you're going to tell me I just can't operate my business for 2 years? Just mind-boggling. Now here we are. And I'll be real honest. I think a lot of the changes that have happened are permanent changes. I mean, I think, you look at where the world is going as far as some of the just natural evolution of humanity and how we interact with each other. It's here.
Well, it's the same thing happened with 9/11.
Yeah.
At airports and things like that. So, some of these things definitely going to be here to stay.
Yeah.
I think you'll see people wearing masks for a long time to come.
My wife and I talked about that the other day. We go into New York. We were looking, because every year we go 2 times a year into New York to buy for the store. And, they're actually opening back up. I think they're going to have the August show. We're going to be able to go buy for the store. And I was like, what's funny is I guarantee you in Pennsylvania, it will be more of a mask recommendation, if you're in stores, indoors, schools, things like that. But in New York and the Javits, it's going to be locked down. I mean, it's going to be tight. And I think that, you see that in some of, the more urban Asian countries. You go to Tokyo and people are wearing masks all the time on a normal basis.
Well,
and it's going to become more of a norm for us here.
Well, I hate, I personally can't stand wearing a mask, but out of respect for everybody, I mean, you do it.
Yep.
That's just the way it is when I'm out in public. And, now we're sitting here today. We're kind of apart, but everybody gets their temperature taken. Everybody, so and where I am, I get my temperature taken every time I walk by the sheriff. So but so I don't know where the future is going to go here. And,
I don't either.
I think you're going to always see plastic dividers.
Yeah.
That'll probably be.
Yep.
And I don't know, in your business, are you going to have dividers between the chairs? Like,
So for us, one of the nice things for us, and it's just the way that we do business, it's not anything special. We've just always liked to be kind of a more open environment. That's just our vibe. So our chairs were already 6 feet apart.
Right.
Where we couldn't have things 6 feet apart, we put plexiglass. So for example, we have wash bowls. You get your hair washed, you get your hair cut, you get the color rinsed out. And there's bowls pretty close. There's 2 bowls right next to each other, then some space, and then 2 more bowls next to each other. We put up plexiglass dividers between the bowls.
Yeah.
Day one, first client getting their hair washed, and we see splatter all over this plexiglass. And that light bulb, for us, that's always going to be permanent.
Sure.
Because not only is it great for COVID, but it's just great on a regular basis because now you're not splashing the person next to you.
Right.
So we're fortunate enough, our business, not only did we make it, we were able to really come out of it okay. Lavish is going to be okay. We're moving into a new location. We're going to be opening there on the 23rd of this month. We're having built permanent installed glass dividers between all the wash bowls. Our entire salon and store is designed in a COVID-friendly manner because this, I think, is going to become more of a normal response to disease, to viruses. I think that, this has been a year of, it's been a test study on how businesses, people, government react to certain things. And I think it's going to become more of a normal world that we live in. So we're preparing for that.
Yeah.
I think other businesses would be smart to prepare for that. Have masks, have gloves, have the hand sanitizers, have all of that stuff. So that's going to become more normal. And as we begin to kind of reopen up into this post-COVID world.
Well, and then you start looking at, hey, growing up, I remember coming down to Tink's and Farley's and Heil's Pub in Dunmore when, a Monday night, you couldn't move. Are those days ever coming back? Are you ever going to be able to be 6 deep in a bar somewhere? Like
Live Nation stock is soaring right now.
Well,
they're getting ready for something.
Yeah, well, I hope they can, and I think they will. But instead of having, 5 or 10,000 people, maybe it's going to be less. That's the way we're headed. Baseball games, whatever, football games. Yeah. So, it's unfortunate, but I think that is going to be the way for a while. But
I think a minimum of, any indoor sport concert, it's going to be minimal occupancy for a while.
Well, we'll see, right?
We will. We're going to find out. We're going to find out what they tell us to do, Chris.
Well, I'm patiently waiting. So we'll see. But other than that, I just hope people can stay safe out there and, continue to follow common sense more than what rules and regulations are. I mean, that to me, that's the most important thing. But we'll see how it goes. But,
well, and I remember going back to the beginning of it, and, they're saying, wash your hands. Do this, do that. Were people not washing their hands before? These are just common sense things. I had this conversation the other day, regarding concerts. I don't think they're going to come back the same way. They are going to look different. But again, common sense. It's in short commodity these days, it seems like. Well, it's strange.
We're going to see. Texas announced, yesterday that they're open 100%.
Abbott, yeah.
So, and there was another state, and I just can't remember which one it was.
I think South Dakota never really did any of it.
Well, very well possible, but there's a few that are going to follow suit. So, that's going to be interesting too. And we're going to see if things start to, are they going to be okay? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what this pandemic is like and the new strains that are out there.
Yeah.
And how it's going to affect people that are back to basically what we used to call normal.
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting to see how it works.
Yeah, it'll be, we'll watch that. I mean, I remember when, Georgia salons started opening back up well before we did. And I remember saying, we'll watch and see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll watch and see if the salon opens up and there's a crazy breakout, or if they can't do it well or safely, then that'll kind of tell us what we're doing. And all of a sudden it's been a month, nothing happened.
Yep.
And it's been 6 weeks, nothing happened. It's like, okay, Governor Wolf, I think we can open. This is follow the science.
Follow the science. But we have a little different up here too. I mean, we have to deal with weather.
Right.
So, hey, when was flu season? As soon as the weather turned.
Right.
And everybody's stuck inside, and they're, that's when everybody. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But
yeah, fortunately for us, the fear was January, February. Up here with the weather, the snow, the cold, being stuck inside. I know a lot of people are really nervous about Christmas, people getting together, and then January and February normally where health is just declining, flu season.
Yeah.
What happens that combined with COVID, and we got through it. It's starting to get warmer every day. The snow's starting to go away, thank God.
Well, I spend my spare time, the little bit that I have. I've been on the Elk Mountain Ski Patrol for 25 years.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably one of a record year. So we had people, I never saw so many people. So they're dying to get out. And I know as soon as the grass starts to turn green, they're going to be golfing and kayaking and biking. I mean, it's going to go crazy again.
Yeah.
So,
Well, my wife and I were pretty active people, but we don't have anything. We aren't winter sport people until this year. You know, my son started dating a girl who likes to ski, so he went skiing with her one day. Came back raving about it. Loved it. So that next Monday, my wife and I were like, all right, we're going skiing. I'm thinking I'll call and book us a lesson. You know, somebody tells us, no, you don't need to do that. You just need to know, what is it, pizza pie and french fry? Is that the thing?
That's a good start.
Yeah. So, you know, we go up on the bunny hill, and I go down the bunny hill 3 times and I didn't break anything. So I think I'm ready for a double black diamond. And, you know, I go down the real hill. I've never been in so much pain in my life. I fell so hard so many times. And I had a blast.
Yep.
You know, and that's the great thing about where we live is if you can find a way to learn to ski, I mean, you have all 4 seasons. You can do, there's a lot of great outdoor things here with, like you said, Elk Mountain, Montage, you know, there's state parks. There's a lot out here.
Oh my God, there's so many things to do. And that's the thing, you know, you can sit in your house and look out the window and complain about winter and think, God, it's terrible. Or you can get out and enjoy it because to me, winter flies by. So,
well, and this one did for us. And I think it was that. I think it was having that outdoor thing. You know, for me, I'm from Tennessee, so I don't do snow. I just, I didn't buy a pair of gloves till like last year. I just kind of denied the fact that it was real. So, you know, go buy a good snow shovel and some gloves, and, you know, you go outside and you know, we were up at Montage 2 weeks ago. They had the tents outside and the bonfires, and
great.
I had gloves on and I had snow boots on, and I lived.
Yep. Actually,
You know, it's you can do that very well. You know, we're fortunate to be where we are. We have, you know, we're 2 hours from New York, Philly. If you want to get that big city feel, we're 30 minutes from nature. You know, being here in Scranton, you got it all.
Well,
got it all.
So your new store is going to open up the end of this month, or getting towards the end of this month, on corner of Adams and Spruce.
That's it.
Our old county building.
The old county building.
But it's transformed.
It is. We're my wife and I, we're 6 years into owning this business, and you know, except for a few months there in 2020, it's been, you know, a great experience. We get to work every day with our best friends.
Yep.
You know,
That's
we say over and over, if we're going to go to work every day, we're going to enjoy it. And we've been able to build a business that is an enjoyable place to be.
Wow.
You know, and you go back, 6 years ago, we had my wife and I and 4 people, and I think we just hired, I think our 23rd or 24th person the other day.
Well, for me too, I never missed a day. You know, I go to work every day. I'm there early. I'm there at 7:30 in the morning most days, and I like to get up in my office, get my email, look at things before anybody gets there, and then I go downstairs and stand with the sheriffs. And I watch everybody coming in and talk to everybody coming. So, I mean, I do. I love being there, and I don't know what I would have done if I was stuck. We're having to work from home and sit in front of a computer all day. I don't think I could have done it.
It's not healthy.
Oh, well.
You know, in this time where we talk about health and safety and the COVID world, isolation's not healthy.
No, it's not.
Not having human interaction, it's not healthy. Not being able to go to a gym, you know, not having access, shutting down the liquor stores is probably a good idea, because if you're stuck at home, you know.
Well, that didn't last too long, though.
Wow. No, that didn't last long at all. Got to get that booze money, Chris.
Well, and you know what? And then in my position too, I was approached by somebody about the suicide, and I lost a cousin, I lost a very good friend. The county didn't have a suicidal prevention alliance, and so actually next week I have my friend Kathy Walls from the Northeast Suicide Prevention Alliance, which she was an important part of getting the county one in place, and we're up and running. It's great, but I mean, what a time to get that going, because it's rampant right now, and so unfortunately, those are the dark days that come out of this stuff. So, but being like I said before, I don't know how you could stay in your house all the time, and these people, traveling into their businesses and to the different cities. Now they're stuck in.
Yeah.
Some of them are in the apartments in your building. I mean,
Yeah.
So
I do think Scranton is going to boom after this.
I agree.
I think you're going to have an exodus out of the bigger cities. I have a friend. He works for in Manhattan for Ralph Lauren, and he works from home.
Right. They don't.
And
have
so for
to
him,
go
it
there.
makes no sense to necessarily pay. I mean, you look at one of the apartments in the building that we're in, or some of the other buildings downtown, and they might range between $1,000 and $1,800 a month. Well, for $1,000 and $1,800 a month in Manhattan, you have 7 roommates in the same size apartment. It's just a reality. So the quality of life you could have moving out of the city, and when we have all the same things to offer, we have great restaurants. We have great parks. We have all those things.
Yep.
So it's going to be a good time to be in Scranton. That is absolutely for sure. But
no question, I think you're going to see it definitely prosper, which is a good thing. So, hey,
we're ready for it. I think Scranton is due for a boom, and we're there. I think there's some good people in place. I think the right players, the right infrastructure is coming in. We got a couple of things we need to tackle. Got a couple of things that we need to sort out. I'm fortunate enough to be on the inside of some of that. I get to serve on the parking authority. We're working on it. We're working on cleaning up that mess. Nobody likes the situation we're in, especially myself. But we're working on it.
Well, how is the parking authority doing without people coming into the city? I mean, I know it's probably picking up now.
It's picking up. And I will say this. I will give all credit. I think you know me well enough to know I have, over the past year, made it a hobby to yell at politicians. I love it.
Thank God I'm not a politician.
Thank God, Chris. But one of the really good things that happened this year was the parking authority and Paige, Mayor Cognetti. She worked on this, and they cut the price of parking there for a while. Unfortunately, it was when we were all shut down. But I mean, that was huge. Just that gesture of being willing to be workable there. But I mean, the numbers are down. Yeah. There's no two ways about it. The numbers are down. That business, and we'll call it that, even though it's a governmental / nonprofit / very muddy watered organization, they still are a business, right. And they lost money, right? Just like everybody else. So, and like every other business, they owe money to the bank. So it's a tough situation. It's a tough situation that is not a simple fix. It's going to be a very complicated fix. But I'm a big believer that, if it was easy, anybody would do it. It's not easy. So we're going to tackle it. Well, we're going to tackle it. We're going to try and fix it.
And those parking garages are a maintenance nightmare, so that never ends either. So
yeah, I mean, just finished up a ton of work on them, millions of dollars worth of work on them. Electrical, some construction stuff. They're in good shape. They're ready to move forward. I think the bulk of the financial load of repairing them is done. So now it's just going to be a maintenance question. But you're right. I mean, they're concrete and steel. Yep. They erode, especially when you live in an area where there's salt and ice and snow all over. It's tough. It just is what it is. This is a tough problem to solve, because if you want to have a vibrant, growing downtown, you have to have a place for people to park. And if you want to have a place for people to park, you have to be able to purchase those things. You have to maintain those things. You need money coming in. And me as a business owner and somebody who's downtown more than I'm anywhere else, would love for the parking to be free. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
The question is, where is the appropriate balance? Is the appropriate balance $2 an hour where we are now? Is it $1 an hour? Is it $4 an hour? Where is the appropriate number? Because when you start to do the comparisons, you start to compare somewhere like a Bethlehem or a Philadelphia or a Manhattan, and then you look at where we are in Scranton, I don't think we're at the right number. I mean, the parking's just not at the right number for where we are and where we want to go. But you can't just cut the price of parking. No. You as somebody who works for the county, or your family business, or me as a business owner, I can't just come in and be like, oh, by the way, haircuts are $10 now. No, I can't maintain my business that way. So it's complicated. And as I talk to people and as somebody who's on the parking authority, I get a lot of these questions. It's complicated, and we are working on it. I'll be the first one to say, and everybody would agree, we want the parking number to come down, like the price of parking. We want it to come down. But we got into some serious debt 15, 20 years ago. Tens of millions of dollars worth of debt. That has to be dealt with. That is still the albatross hanging around the neck of the parking authority and consequently downtown Scranton.
Right.
You can't avoid it. The only thing you can do is face it head on and deal with it. That's it. Yep. You can't keep kicking the can down the road. We've got to deal with it, and we've got to deal with it now. Scranton is poised and ready to boom. That's going to be a problem.
And sometimes the decisions are tough decisions. I've been faced with a few of them myself, especially coming in as a new commissioner. But you know what? You can't kick the can down the road, and you got to face reality. And unfortunately, sometimes the answer is no when people ask. They don't like that, but it's so it's tough. But hey, we get through it and we get it done, and we're going to make a better place out of Scranton and northeastern Pennsylvania and Lackawanna County, and we'll grow from here. We're going to be the model for everybody else. Let's hope.
Well, and I think we can be. I think that like I said, we have all the right pieces.
Yes, we do.
And if we get out of our own way, if we, what it is, I'm not from here. Okay, so I'm a transplant. I'm born in Tennessee, right outside of Nashville. Moved to Europe when I was younger, lived all over, and then somehow found my way to Scranton, PA. And I remember the first probably 10 years of living here. My wife, young family, a couple different jobs, and all you hear is how bad Scranton is. It's, no jobs, young people are always leaving, just corrupt politicians and high taxes and bad weather. And, and you just hear the negative, hear the negative, hear the negative. And then it was right around the time that we were buying the business. My wife and I, we were having one of those conversations, and I'm thinking to myself, like, do we really want to saddle ourselves with owning a business locked down? Because at the time my head was, I want to move back to Nashville. That's where I was. And my wife made one statement, and in one sentence, it changed everything for me. I told her, I was like, Lauren, I want to go home. I've lived a lot of places. I've moved around, but I've never really had like a home. That was the only place that was home to me. And she said, but you realize if you go home, you're taking the kids away from the only home they've ever known. And in that one sentence, Scranton became my home. In one sentence, that was it. And we bought a business. And that change in mentality, just a simple shift in mentality of this place is good. It is essentially good. You start to see all the great things. You start to see the people. And there's good people here.
Yes, there is.
You start to see some people in leadership, politicians, the bad guys typically. And you start to see good ones. And, you're one of them. You're one of the good guys.
Well,
and there's a couple other people that are. And you start to see business opportunities. And you start to see the University of Scranton and what they do for the community, and Marywood, and just all of those players, the education that we have. And then you start to see, and this is a big one, you start to see single operator restaurants come in. And I remember, the guys from over at Posh. And then, you start to see things like a Barpazzo, and you start to see things, like a AV coming downtown. And you start to see these restaurants that are more high-end, that are starting to change the story of what Scranton is. We don't just have to be pizza and wings, even
That's
though
right.
we do have great pizza and wings.
We have the best, and we have some of the best restaurants you can
great.
go to.
And so all of a sudden the story starts to change, and it's not, we used to have people come all the time, right past our window. They were going to the cultural center. They would stay down at the Hilton or the Radisson. They'd walk right past our store, walking over to the cultural center, people from out of town. And they come by and they're like, everything you have here is what we have in New York. In our little block, our little neighborhood that we live in, you've got the restaurants, you've got the nice bars, you've got all those things. You have it all here. there's the reasons to leave and go somewhere, air quote, better. They're slowly going away. Those reasons are slowly going away, and now Scranton is just ready to boom. And to have that home and to have that place where things are getting better every day, things are improving. It's an exciting time to be here in Scranton.
Well, it is, and it's good to have people that are excited to see it prosper, and so I certainly am, and I mean that's what drove me into this position.
Yeah.
I know we can do better.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to do the best I can, and that's what it's going to take. So,
Yeah.
So we're off.
It's not easy.
Nope.
Sometimes if you want to do better, I mean, you got to, I say this all the time, everybody wants a six-pack, but nobody wants to eat healthy and go to the gym. If you want the good results, you've got to do the hard work. And, you get to a certain age, like we kind of are knocking on the door of, it's like you could spend 6 weeks getting in shape, and it takes about 6 hours to get out of it. It just is what it is.
Wow.
But you have to be consistent. You have to do the hard work. That's not fun, but you have to
make
do
it fun. That's how I do it.
Well, we found a way to make everything fun.
Yeah.
I mean, every day is a party.
Well,
if you want it to be.
well.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, listen, that was a great bit of information.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best.
And I'm going to guess, and I didn't tell you, but I'm going to guess you're probably going to cut this out, and I don't care. But I don't know how many people are going to see this, but I love to yell at politicians, and I'll give credit where credit's due, Chris. And you have done as much, if not more, than anybody in the position to make change than in Lackawanna County. You and I had a conversation a while back. People think that I'm crazy sometimes, and maybe I am.
It's okay.
But just go for it. Just go for it. I mean, if you see my wife and you see me, you know that I'm a salesman. Like I sold myself. I feel sorry for her. She got the short end of that stick. But I called you one day and I said, we need $2 million. Just, like you do. You just call your local county commissioner, like, I need millions of dollars.
That was a big one. That was, I forgot we even did that. That was back just before Christmas.
That was when the restaurants got shut down again for the 3 weeks around Christmas.
A Friday, I think.
And I called you on a Saturday.
Saturday
Afternoon, I called you. Monday morning, you called me back and said, I got $1 million.
Yep. Well,
I asked for 2, thinking you'd come back with like 200,000. I asked for 2 million.
I put that on the shoulders of our economic development department, and Brenda. I said, Brenda, we need a Christmas miracle. We need it right now.
Yeah.
And she said, I think I know what we can do.
And the way you guys structured it was smart. The $10,000, very simple. It was $110,000 grants, right?
Yep.
$10,000. Now, to some people, that sounds like a lot of money. That is what helped 100 businesses survive to fight another day.
Yep.
And so, right now we're in a weird time, and there's a lot of money flying around. A lot of money going to places. We have this new stimulus bill that's coming out, and there's a lot of money, and not a lot of it's going directly to American families. So I don't know where all that money is going, but for you to have the ability and the willingness to, and I'm going to assume you had to stick your neck out a little bit. Well, a county commissioner doesn't just get to spend $1 million and nobody asks any questions.
Well, you know what?
It was huge.
Quite honestly,
Huge.
If you didn't call me that Saturday, that would have never happened. It wouldn't have happened. Yeah. I mean, obviously we'd be continuing to try to help, but that just pushed me, and it worked. So
yeah,
and so that was my hat's off to you. You pushed it, and I was lucky enough to make it happen. So but that was great. I wish we had $30 million to give out that day, but
hey, if you have $30 million, that might solve my parking problem.
Yeah, well, boy, if I had it, believe me, I'd share the wealth.
Yeah, we just need somebody to win the lottery around here, and we can fix it.
Well, I
play the Pennsylvania lottery.
I try, but I'm not too good. We never know.
No, I don't play.
All right. Well, thank you, and good luck. And I know I'll see you around town.
Yeah, we're gonna have a first Friday grand opening, April 1st Friday. So come on down.
Okay,
all right, sir.
I'll be there, and I hope all the people listening will be there too.
Yes, sir.
First Fridays are a lot of fun in the city.
They're a blast, and I think they're gonna come back roaring
They will.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Well,
All right,
great
Chris.
having you on. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for tuning in to Street Level with Chris Chermak. I hope you enjoyed the show. Micah was a great guest. We covered some great topics, and I wish him well in the future. On our next podcast, we will spotlight Gary Duncan. Gary is a historian and a committee member with the St. Patrick's Day Parade. He's a colorful guy, good friend, and it's going to be a lot of fun, so I hope you tune in. This podcast is paid for by the Friends of Chris Chermak. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you next show.